see you guys in the dark.
So my old middle school does this thing called a candygram. You pay for a note, and a candy gets delivered to a friend. This was usually during the holidays or fundraising season. And overall, I never really got one. Yeah, I have plenty of friends, but what kind of middle schooler is going to pay $5 for that kind of stuff? Halloween of 2022. I was in my first class of the day, advisory, and like every other year, they were passing out these candygrams. Imagine to my surprise when one was given to me. I initially assumed it was from my best friend, and that he wrote something stupid. Nope, instead it was just, "You are cute. Love Anonymous." No one ever really had much interest in me at that point, and the thought of someone going out of their way and spending money on me was very flattering. I show my friends an advisory, and they move on to the next class. Except this time, someone knows who Anonymous may be. They say this girl in their advisory has a massive crush on me, but they won't tell me who she is. After a bunch of guessing, I settle on one person. Her name is Trisha, and she is a friend of a friend. Up to that point, I had only talked to her once during a gym period, and I had to be reminded of what she even looked like. The day goes on, and we have a Halloween assembly. Everything goes normal. On my way out of the gym, I look behind me to see if any of my friends are nearby, and lo and behold, Trisha is standing right behind me. The reason I remember so vividly is because she slipped on a purge mask as soon as we made eye contact. I sound like a bad horror author, but I shit you not, this is what happened. Needless to say, I ran away and did some legendary trick or treating that night. The next day, I open up my locker to a pink folded up piece of construction paper. It is a poem. Roses are red, violets are blue. You are for me, and I love you. Secret lover. I'm looking at it as I type this right now. I run over to my friend, and we are both bent over laughing, because what the hell? The next weeks, I have about 2 notes in my locker every day. But here are the worst. I watch you at your house because I can just imagine how our house would be like when we are married. Your feet probably smell amazing. You smell nice. Hi, love, it's me. I love you. Have a nice day. I apologize for the creepy ones. By this point, she knows she is doing something weird. I'm sorry, baby boy. I just love you so much, and I need to be with you. Mind you, I'm a girl. I've always been a girl. These are all word for word, and I am staring at the pile of them right now. She kept switching signs off of either the Watcher, Secret Lover, Anonymous, and Stalker. Why would you ever call yourself a stalker? Most times, my friends would see her slip the notes into my locker during the passing period, and once I saw her do it myself. In about a week, my friends know every detail of this fiasco, and they all found it pretty funny. Honestly, I did too. Remember that friend of a friend? Well, her and I are very close, and she lives about 5 minutes walking distance to my house. She said when her and Trisha were hanging out, she kept bringing me up and asking questions about my family. Then she asked if my friend would show her my house. My friend insisted that she couldn't, but Trisha was persistent. No matter how many times she said no, Trisha would ask and ask. My friend never did tell her my address, and she kicked Trisha out of her house. That same friend added me to a Google document that Trisha's friend group used to talk throughout the school day, and every single thing about me, what I was wearing that day, who I was talking with, and how Trisha and I would make such a good couple. Trisha even wrote down my mom's license plate number in the document. I wish I had screenshots, but even if I did, I don't have that device anymore. Mind you, I was 12 at the time. This was all happening, so I was very stupid. And I make my presence known in the document. I don't exactly remember what I said, but it was something along the lines of, "What the hell?" I add my best friend to the document, and he starts putting on a performance, claiming that we were a couple, and Trisha needs to back off. Trisha says sorry, and it's all quiet for a few days. I go back to the document to see if anything else has happened, but now it's just Trisha and I in it. She tells the story of how she was up all night crying while writing me an apology love letter, and how she threw it in a fire. I have no clue why she felt the need to share all of this. Now I decided I was going to the counselor. I'm sad to admit that up to that point, I thought it was all really entertaining, but something about her burning things fucked with me. After I tell this whole tale to the counselor, Trisha gets pulled out of class. But guess what? They didn't delete the document. I'm still baffled that all she got was a reprimand, but was left with a way to contact me. She says a bunch of weird shit that I have blocked out at this point, but I remember her saying Then when they said my name during her getting in trouble, she had a huge pit in her stomach. Needless to say, I removed myself from the document and didn't give her any more attention. Mind you, throughout this whole thing, I had never spoken to her in person. She continued to stare at me during lunch the rest of the year and ask people really weird questions about me, but thankfully that has stopped now that we are in high school. I occasionally see her in the halls, and I just walk as quickly as I can, passing her. When I was 15, I'd take my German Shepherd out, Delgado, so he can go use the restroom. One time near Christmas, for a whole 3 months, there was this tall, lanky, raggedy dude that my parents noticed on the Ring camera. He would always walk past the house just seconds after I was outside, and he would always look straight into the camera, just standing there, waiting, and then hurried off. The last time I took my dog out was when I saw him hustling towards me in the dark. Delgado started growling, so I ran inside, with him ready to pounce at the dude. I told my dad about this. By this time, he was pissed and just over this, so he decided he was going to do something about it. The fact my dad already knew this guy's habits. My dad got out there right in time to confront him about why he's been following me. The dude just said that this was his first time in the neighborhood, and he was just checking out our beautiful Christmas lights, all while trying to sound like Mr. Nice Guy. My dad acted like the dude never said anything and told him in the most stern voice to get the fuck out of there, or he would open the door, pointing to Delgado, who was barking like mad. After that, he rushed through the camera 3 times in one week, every time past 11 p.m. to 12 p.m. I'd only assume he'd been waiting out there since 9 p.m. After a while, though, we never heard anything else until one night when I was downstairs. I was just washing my face, playing music with the window open, and my brother, who's 10 years old, rushed downstairs and started knocking on the door, quietly asking if we could talk. I opened up the door, and he's horrified. Look behind you, he tells me. It's the same freaking guy watching you, and his face is nearly pressed on the screen. I just stood there, and he just stayed, watching me. I don't know how I dismissed the strong cigarette smoke, but he never broke my eye contact, and I just calmly left once he heard my dad was coming downstairs. Understandably, the cops couldn't do anything about it other than let me submit a report. My poor brother was sobbing while hugging me. He was the quiet type, sweetest boy ever, and all he said to me was, I looked outside my window, and when I looked down, I just saw something black outside the lit window. So I ran downstairs as fast as I could and knocked carefully because I didn't want to scare you. I lived in the south area of Tucson, Arizona. Anyone that's been there knows how bad the homeless rate is in itself. To that one specific guy, I don't care if you were having a cinematic moment while you were looking through the window or even following me like a creep. I just want to say my training won't go to waste, and you better pray that I don't see you ever again, or any creep for that matter, because I'm tired of this. I'm from a small town in the coastal BC. One summer night, a friend of mine who's a male, me being female, went to a well-known beach spot to lay out and look at the stars. There was only one other person at the beach at this time, a middle-aged white guy who had a whole setup going on among a small log fort. Resting on one of his logs was a small red lantern. Not creepy at all. My friend and I walked past him as he set it up at the beach entrance. Say a quick hello, and carry on walking to find our own private spot. He asked us if we'd like to join him. It's not very unusual for strangers to interact in this way, since we are in a very small community. Most people are very trusting. Anyways, we politely decline, and he says no worries. Hope you two have a nice night. In kind of a weird, ominous tone. Of course, we dismiss it as just one random beach guy who's had a couple too many beers. A little while later, we are much further down the beach, hanging on our blanket and talking under the stars. Suddenly, we hear some twigs crack from the forest behind the coastline, and again we dismiss it as being a deer, since there are hundreds of deers all over our town. We were there for about 15 minutes, and when we hear a fucking Android text phone go off in the trees right behind us, both of us went completely still. Since there are no roads, or homes, or even people around, where would there be a normal thing like that to hear? Just that one guy we saw earlier. I was almost frozen in fear, but luckily my friend made the right call to pack up our blanket and walk back to our car along the moonlight beach, and not through the forest trail that we came on. Lo and behold, the man at the beach entrance is nowhere to be seen, but his red lantern and guitar are still there. He was fucking stalking us. Whether he's just a creep who wanted to perv on some young people, or actually cause us harm in some other way. His idiotic mistake of leaving his ringer on gave him away, and we were able to leave the scene quickly. I still wince thinking about what could have happened and what this could have turned into.
If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, like, and hit the bell for notifications on future videos and become a stalker of the night. And I'll see you next time.